In the winter of 1975, a sad young man was living a nightmare, as he stood outside a 7-Eleven in New York City with tears in his eyes and his pet bull mastiff on a leash. He was 29 years old, he had $106 in his bank account, and his wife was pregnant. He couldn't afford to buy a bag of dog food, let alone dinner for himself. That man was Sylvester Stallone, and that dog was Butkus. Within a year, one of them would be the biggest star in the world, and the other would be an Oscar-winning co-star. But first, Sly had to do the one thing that broke his heart. He had to sell his best friend. Butkus wasn't just a pet. Sly got him as a 6-week-old puppy back in 1969. They spent years living in a literal flophouse above a subway station. When Sly was writing the script for Rocky in a blacked-out room, Butkus was the only one there. They were both thin, they were both hungry, and they were both outcasts. Stallone later said that Butkus was the only living thing that loved him for who he was, not for what he could provide. But when the winter of '75 hit, the situation became dire. Stallone realized that if he kept the dog, Butkus might starve. So, he sold him to a stranger at a liquor store for $40 just so the dog could eat a week later. A miracle happened. Producers saw his script for Rocky and offered him $350,000 for it. There was just one catch: they didn't want Sly to star in it. They wanted a real actor like James Caan or Ryan O'Neal. Stallone looked at his empty bank account and said no. He walked away from life-changing money because he knew he was Rocky. He eventually settled for just $35,000, as long as he got to play the lead. And the very first thing he did with that check, he went back to that 7-Eleven. For 3 days, Stallone stood outside that store, waiting for the man he'd sold Butkus to. When he finally saw them, he begged for his dog back. But the new owner saw the headlines. He knew Sly was about to be famous. He refused $100. He refused $1,000. He held out until Stallone agreed to pay a staggering $15,000, nearly half of his entire Rocky salary, just to bring his friend home. People called him crazy, but Sly said Butkus was worth every penny. He even insisted that the man who sold the dog back get a small walk-on role in the movie just to close the deal. If you watch the training montage in Rocky, that's the real Butkus running up the steps of the Philadelphia Museum of Art. He stayed by Sly's side through the fame, the sequels, and the Oscars, until he passed away in 1981. It's the ultimate proof that loyalty has no price tag. Follow, like and subscribe to Star-Lord to see more legends who risked everything for what they loved. And we want to know in the comments, could you turn down $360,000 to protect your dream?